Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jim and Jimmy Live. This is officially our third episode today. I
Yeah,
am
I can't
Jim
believe it.
Marabelli of NEPA Pizza Review, and we're here with Jimmyhank of, I'm sorry, Jim Henry of Jimmyhank Pizza. And we are going to make some Detroit style pizza tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do it live again. It's always a little bit nerve wracking doing pizzas live, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we will. It's a lot of stress, but I know you're up to the task, up to the challenge. I'm going to sit here and relax and give you some play-by-play while Jimmy, runs around his kitchen there. So you got the Uni Volt heating up. How long have you been preheating that for?
That's been, let's see, probably about a half hour. Yeah,
Okay,
30
is
minutes.
it
Yeah.
already at peak time? About a half hour preheat, or is it
Yeah, that's
quicker
pretty
than that?
standard. Yeah, we should be good. 30 minutes. Yep. Yeah, I
Awesome.
gotta check the temp here. We're yeah, we got like 671
671.
stone. Yep.
Nice bright display on that thermometer there.
Yeah, I like that one.
You're
Yep.
gonna have to drop me a link.
So yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'm gonna do. I was actually gonna do something extra here tonight that we didn't do before. I have a dough. I made dough today for the weekend because I'm doing a pop up on Sunday, but I had an extra dough ball, so I brought it home with me. And I was actually gonna just do a quick little demo on pressing the dough out in the pan, and then throw it into par bake while we sort of get the other one ready to go. It'll be like about an 8 minute par bake,
let's do it.
and then yeah, and we can chat about it. So the one question I get a lot is, when you press it out in the pan and you're going from a round dough ball to a square pan or a rectangular pan, I guess. Um, how do you fill it in all the way to the corners? And there's really no real trick to it. One is you got to make sure your dough is nice and relaxed, right? You want to keep it out at room temperature. You don't want to do it with cold dough. Although I can do it with my dough when it's cold because it's fermented out so well. It's pretty relaxed. But this dough, actually, we can check the temp on this dough. I haven't actually had it out for too long. Let's see. See what we got here. Let's see. So that's 60 degrees, that dough. So
What are you usually shooting for before you work with it? What temp do you like your dough to
I
be when you
mean,
work with it?
room temperature is, if you're doing a round pizza, usually room temperature is good. But I can literally take this dough right from the fridge and press it out, no problem. Another thing I like, which a lot of people use olive oil. I like Crisco because it almost acts like a glue. I know some of the styles up where you're from, Jim, they like to use the Crisco in the pans as well.
You
But
know, I'm a Crisco guy, and the life hack is the butter flavored Crisco, right?
that's what this is. This is the
Yeah.
butterfly, and this is like the stick version. I have a big tub of it that I usually use, but this I keep a stick version of this around. So what I'm going to do, and I see you popped up the overhead camera. So we got this overhead cam here, which is another new technology we're trying out. It's pretty cool. So I'm going
Yeah,
to take my
we're really investing, guys. We really want to get rid of the technical details, and we might be showing off a little bit here, but
right. So I got some Crisco here on my fingers. Not a lot, just a little bit, just enough to coat the pan. I'm just going to go in here and just grease this pan up good. Flip it around, just a real light coating. You don't want a ton on here.
no,
There's
I,
that.
I
And I like
noticed.
using gloves with Crisco just because this stuff is so sticky, and it's like just a pain in the butt to get off your fingers when it's um, if you're not gloved up. It's like it's like repellent to soap. I think like normal soap doesn't like it.
Yeah,
So
I just keep hitting the Dawn dish detergent.
right,
Just
exactly, yeah.
not,
So that's the
it
only
takes
reason I
like
had to,
three washes to get it off. But
that's the only
um,
reason I had the gloves on. So I'm going to take those off. Oh, it's Jeff said, do you go up the sides? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, just like as much as the dough is going to fill the bottom. I don't go up the sides, very far. So anyway, I'm going to take this. We're going to take this dough. Bring it over here. Let's get it out of the tin.
I notice you're being pretty gentle there with the dough, taking it out.
Yeah, just trying not to like tear it, just so it all comes off smooth, right?
Hmm.
So now we got it in here, and I'm just gonna take a little tiny bit of olive oil just to put on the top so it's not sticky on my fingers. If you still have the gloves on and you had a little bit of that residue from the Crisco, that would be good too. I just put a little bit of olive oil in here, and then I'm just gonna take my fingers and just kind of press it out gently and kind of try to keep it evenly. You want to try and keep the dough the same thickness all the way through. And just go right to the corners and see what that Crisco just goes right around. And then if I'm trying to do this quick, it's like 3 or 4 presses and you're done. And just go
Hmm.
like 1, 2, 3. That's it. So
That's great. And I noticed now a lot of people that reach out to me ask about, well, the dough keeps shrinking. The dough keeps shrinking. A couple things that I noticed. First, if you're using cold dough, I mean, Jimmy's got a pretty solid formula ready to go. But if you're using cold dough or dough that's not relaxed enough and ready to go, it'll snap back.
right.
Now talk about the difference between olive oil in the pan and Crisco in the pan.
Well, if you throw olive oil in there, it's going to tend to want to snap back just because it's so slippery. The oil is not quite as tacky as the Crisco. That's one thing with the Crisco; it's a little bit tacky, so it will it will actually kind of act like a glue and hold it in place, which is kind of nice.
And a
So
follow-up question on oil. Eddie asks, do you put any oil in the dough proofing tins?
no, I don't. No, I usually just throw them right in. Uh, I don't know. What do you do, Jim? Do you throw oil in the proofing tins?
No, I used to just because that's what we used to do in the pizzeria. But talking to Chef Gregorio, he said I got to get you to stop doing that because it just doesn't you don't gain much by it.
Yeah, no,
And I also noticed when I was generous with it, and I'm using bench flour, it sort of cakes a little bit, and it doesn't come out very nicely in the finished product. So
yeah,
yeah, so I don't use oil either. The only time I use oil is if I know I'm going in the pan and they're too close together. Maybe I'll put a little bit down
between
the
them. Yeah.
side.
So I'm gonna take this and throw it in the oven here. Then we're gonna set that for, let's call it 6 minutes. Now I'm kind of skipping a step here. Usually what I do after I press it out in the pan, I'll cover it and then we'll let it proof at room temperature
How
for,
long?
I mean, I do mine overnight. Just that's my kind of my process. There's very little yeast in my dough, so it's a really, really long, slow proof at room temperature. But you can go this dough. I mean, I didn't let it proof in the pan, but it was proofing in the tin today at room temperature. So um, I don't know. We'll see how it springs up in the oven. We may get a little bit of a rise. We may not get any rise. We'll see what happens. So, but yeah, you know, any kind of a longer room temperature proof is all going to depend on how much yeast you put in your dough. Um, Probably want to go a minimum like 4 hours at least. So let's let that go. I just realized I don't have my pan grippers, so let me run upstairs and grab those real quick.
All
Be right
right,
back.
I'll try to take some questions while we're at it. Um, Anybody any thoughts here so far? What's the temperature on the volt? Eddie, I think he was in the mid 600s, measured on the stone, and he had preheated it for about 30 minutes. Not sure. I'm not a volt owner myself, but I think I don't know if you actually set it at temp or if you just set it at like high to low. But he was in the mid 600s before he launched that.
There we go. I'm back.
Look at this guy. He just appears out of nowhere like
Well, I
magic.
just overheard you. You had a question about the volt.
What's the temperature on the volt and what settings are you using? So I just spoke
Yeah.
about the stone temperature, but
So I have it set to 600. You can set it up to, I guess we can go to like 850. Um, and it goes in like 25-degree increments. And then
okay.
you can also adjust the top and bottom heat. So I've got it like on a pretty even top to bottom ratio. If you're doing like Neapolitan pizza, you can make the bottom more heat, or you
Mhm.
can adjust it, and make it top more heat. However you want to do your pizza. Um, so yeah, it's kind of cool because it's got a heating element at the top and a heating element at the bottom, and you can control them separately, sort of the ratio from top to bottom.
Really dial in that bake.
Yeah, yeah. So and actually, and so another thing here we show. Oh, I didn't put my sauce in the pan, so I'm going to get my sauce in here while we're par baking, which is sort of my typical process because I don't really cook my sauce. I just warm it. So I'm going to take my sauce here.
I heard you say, we talked about this the other night, but you're warming the sauce, right? What you're not actually cooking it through.
Yeah, just warm it through. I don't really cook it. It's just Stanislaus 711 and some super dolce mixed in to thicken it up a little bit. And then yeah, it's just some fresh basil, salt and pepper, or salt, fresh basil, salt, olive oil. That's really all that's in it.
Excellent. Jimmy, I'm going to throw up a comment here, and then maybe you could speak to it. Douglas Stark says he burned his first wood-fired pizza oven in 2 minutes. So what would you say to people using high heat ovens for the first time? I'm not sure what his level of experience with wood-fired pizzas are, but normally, go ahead.
Yeah, as you say, it'd be interesting to have them say which kind of oven it was. If it was like a smaller, like one of these portable ovens with wood, or if it was a larger kind of dome oven, like because I can only speak to like the unis. Like if your heat's super high and you're launching your pizza in there at 900 degrees, you got to act quick because that thing's going to cook in under 90 seconds. So, and he said in 2 minutes. So once you launch that thing, you're turning that thing like after the first 20 seconds. Once that bottom sets, you got to just keep turning and turning. So
Yeah,
that could have been an issue.
it's a very active bake. The Detroit is a little bit more, even though you're working hard there. Detroit bake is a little more, little less stressful because you just put it in, you're waiting.
Right, it's a little less stressful, a little more forgiving. I just took a peek at this, and this is interesting. This thing is like doming up like crazy, and this is probably because I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Pop up
Well, let me pop that on camera here.
There's a huge bubble. Maybe you can see that an angle on that, but I think that's because I didn't proof it at room temperature. I'm just going to knock that down.
Well, I think this is important for the people at home to see that you need to really proof it up and let it relax, right? Because you can see it's pulling in from the corners a little bit, and we like those nice sharp corners, especially the Frico King. He's got that crown going.
Yeah, that totally. I mean, this is going to be like. I'm going to just pop this out here real quick because I think it might be done. Just judging on the.
No. That's a finished. We call it. That's like a bare par bake. Eddie's asking, do you ever par bake with cheese on?
So no, this is just dough. So I mean, this is just basically like a focaccia bread right now. So I'm gonna just stop with that. I mean, we can just eat this as a bread for now. I'm not even gonna use this for pizza. I just want to kind of do the demonstration of pressing the dough out and par baking it, even though we didn't do a proper pan proof.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, here's another question I'm going to pop up for you here, Jimmy. Ted asks, can you talk a little bit about how Detroit dough differs from focaccia? Or
Honestly,
if it does it all.
They're really not that different. I mean, I use my Detroit dough as focaccia all the time. I don't know that I've ever actually made a true focaccia from a focaccia recipe, to be honest. I'd have to look that up.
The thing I notice, and I don't make a lot of focaccia either, but the thing I notice is I tend to see a little olive oil drizzled on top, and then rather than pressing out, I see a little more like dimpling
it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I guess that might be where my Detroit differs a little bit because you can see I don't do mine super thick. If I was doing a focaccia, I'd probably do like double the amount of dough that I do for my Detroits. I just don't like my Detroit super bready, like super thick, just because like once you put the toppings and the sauce on there, it just gets too it's just too much, like too much of a bite. As the Uncle Frank just said, focaccia is more air inside. I mean, I would differ. I would beg to differ on that because I like my Detroit really airy. My Detroit's not like a traditional Detroit. That's more of a denser, tighter crumb. Mine is a more open, airy crumb like a focaccia. So focaccia higher hydration, that's true. But you can do Detroit at a high hydration as well. I mean, I know a lot of people do 75, 80% hydration on their Detroits. I do like 65% just because it's easier, and if I can ferment it slower, if it's a higher hydration, it'll ferment quicker. Um, so, oh, here's my timer going. So, um, so why don't we get into this one? Here's my par bake, and I just throw this in the pan. Nothing, go to the overhead there, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
No Crisco, just dough in the pan, the par bake in the pan. This is actually a frozen par bake from a couple weeks ago that was left over that I didn't use. Wrapped it in plastic and froze it. Took it out a couple hours ago to thaw just on the countertop. And how are you getting open crumb with lower hydration? Long, slow fermentation followed by a long pan proof at room temperature. That's how we do it. So, and actually, you know what, Pizza Russo, if you stick around, I have a one upstairs that is cut in half. That was some one that we used as focaccia. We just ate as a snack. That I can show you, and I can show you the open crumb. And you can see the open crumb on this one once we bake it up. So anyway, so let me stir my sauce here. It's starting to bubble a little bit. All right. Any other questions before we go on?
We do. Pizza Russo, I think, was asking what pan that you're using, and I think that's important. That's an important question here, Jimmy.
It is. It's a Lloyd pan. It's an 8x10 size. That's the size I like. You can do a 10x14 also. I just kind of fell in love with this size just because it's so versatile, and you can, be a little bit more variety with your pizzas. Make a couple different topping combinations, and rather than just doing like one big pizza, do two of these, and two different toppings, and everybody's happy.
I like the variety too, and make it a bunch. And while you're doing that, Jeff asks, "Have you ever tried par baking with the lids on in the oven?"
Yeah, I know a lot of people do. They do that. I'm not really a fan of it because what it'll do, it blocks the heat from the top. So then you can see on mine how the top's a little bit brown here and there. That camera's a little bit washed out, but some little brown spots where it's kind of baked up like golden in spots. That's the way I like to see mine. If you throw the lid on there, it's not going to brown up too much, if at all, because you're basically going to block the heat, but it's also going to trap the steam. So you might get a little bit more of a rise if you do that. I just never really got into it. I tried it a few times, and just this is the process I like, so I stuck with it. So I'm just going to throw my cheese in here, press it in against the sides, just to ensure that it's going to kind of stay there when it melts and go down along the side. We're going to get our nice frico edge. Jeff said he's found that it reduces shrinkage, which may or may not be good or bad thing. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it reduces shrinkage because you're trapping the steam. That's what causes the shrinkage. When you're baking, cooks. You're cooking the moisture out of the product, so you're cooking the moisture out of the bread, which in turn is going to shrink it. So the other thing to avoid the shrinkage is not baking it as long, because you're not going to bake that out of the base. So there's a couple different ways. If you don't want the shrinkage, I like it to shrink a little bit, just because then you get the cheese that goes down between the pan and the dough. Just like a couple millimeters of gap is good. It's kind of optimal. You can get away with more, but then you risk your frico sort of collapsing on you and not having enough strength. So My son requested a plain cheese pizza, so I'm not going to put pepperoni in this. I was going to, um, but he just got back from basketball practice and he said, "Can you do a plain?" And so I was like, "Sure." So this pizza is going to be for him. Got any other questions there, Jim? What do we got? What size dough do I use for an 8x10? I use I do about 275 grams for 8x10. Like I said, you saw how thin it was. It's not super thick. You know, some people do like 350 or even up close to 375. You're gonna get, if you want a thicker, breadier pizza, then yeah, go for it. It's all personal preference. Um, all right, so I'm gonna toss this in. Actually, no, I got my pizza dust here again. Remember this, Jim?
Ah, the magic dust, baby.
I'm gonna get my dust in there.
The
This is
good
just a little
stuff.
mixture of herbs and uh, and some Romano cheese shredded. Turn my sauce down so you can hear it bubbling. I may actually just turn it off and let it sit for a bit. So, okay, so there, you can see that on our overhead. That's a little bit of a better view. It's not quite as washed out up there.
It looks great. Now, here's a relevant question before you do that. Rick asks, why don't you use sauce while baking?
So that's another thing. You can sauce if you want to. Um, I like adding the sauce post bake because I found that when you bake with the sauce on, the moisture kind of cooks out of the sauce and tomatoes, and it'll run down the sides where you're trying to get that nice caramelized cheese, and it's going to prevent that cheese from caramelizing as much as you want. So if you're struggling with getting a nice caramelized cheese frico edge and you're putting sauce on pre-bake, try doing it post-bake. And I know Rick Fell. Come on, man, you know that question. I know Rick Pell. He might be a different Rick.
No, Rick, Peil, not Fell.
Oh, I thought it was Ricky Fell. I was like, come on, Ricky.
Yeah, I was like, thinking the same thing when you said that. But yeah, Rick,
So,
that's it's definitely just personal preference. I do
yeah,
think in Detroit they
yeah.
do bake it on. I did actually collaborate with Buddy's Pizza out of Detroit at one point, and they send you very specific instructions on how the pizza is to be made, and their sauce is to be put on ahead of time and baked
Mhm.
on top. But we have another relevant question before you go on. Ted asks if he was in Detroit, they'd be using brick cheese, correct?
Yes. So, yeah. And I've used brick cheese before. It's really tough to get around here. I don't know where you are, Ted, if you're in, Pennsylvania, Northeast PA, or where you are. I'm in Southeast PA. It's tough to get anywhere outside of the Midwest. You can get it shipped, but it's super expensive. I've found the product that I like is Grande's Italian blend of low moisture mozzarella, um, white cheddar, and provolone. It's really good. It just, you'll see when this comes out, you'll see what it looks like. I love it. It's got a great flavor. It's a good product. I've been using that one for a while now. So I think it's a really good substitute for the brick cheese. I think it comes out just as good, if not better. Um, but you'll see. I'm gonna pop this in. So the oven's ready. Where it's like 600 degrees. Let's throw this in. I'm gonna set the timer for 10 minutes, and then I might check it at like 8 to see how we're doing, and go from there.
We had a little insights come in from Eddie's Pizza 412 on Instagram. He thinks that you really get to taste the sauce when you put it on post bake.
Yeah, I think it comes. I think that goes back to like why I don't cook it. I think it stays fresher. You get like a fresher taste. You don't get that like sometimes when you have like a cooked sauce, it just it's too concentrated and it's like it tastes like a cooked sauce. It's not like a fresh tomato. And if you're using good tomatoes, you really don't need to do that. You don't really have to add much to them, and you get a good, nice product.
Care to share which tomatoes you're using tonight?
Yeah, yeah, 7-Eleven. So here, I actually got my basil in here, so I'll bring it over. These guys, 7-Eleven Stanislaus.
That's a great product. We'll be using those in our pizza class as well, so everyone's going to
Yeah.
get their hands and taste buds on those. Great tomatoes. And I learned, early on when I was experimenting with different sauces and tomatoes from the grocery store, and taste testing 75 of them, that most of them are really not good tomatoes. There's not a lot of great tomatoes in the grocery store. And I would cook and add sugar and add all this junk. And I never made a sauce that I liked until I started finding great tomatoes like the 7-Eleven. I'm a tomato magic guy, but I also love 7-Eleven. But it really makes a difference, guys, what ingredients you're using.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. So let's see, any other questions? I saw somebody said, "Did we par bake?" It came late. Yes, we did. We did par bake. Ted Nichols said he's near Hershey. Okay. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Ted was just down at Archetype Pizza in York, which is on my list, and he sent me photos. I just posted. Their pizza looks ridiculous.
I saw your post. Yeah, that looked really good.
Yeah. Thanks again, Ted, for sending those.
Here's one. I didn't see this one, Jim. I don't know if you missed it. Is Urban Slice the best canned sauce you guys ran into? Looking for a solid sauce out of the can.
I could take this one because I have taste tested this in, I think, close to 80 pizza sauces.
Mm-hmm.
Urban Slicer, who's a sponsor of the pizza class, they have provided some of their sauce and flour pizza dough mix for our class. So I'm excited about it. And we would not have them there if it wasn't a product that we didn't like. Okay. The thing that I like Urban Slicer pizza sauce for is actually to add to crushed tomatoes. It's a thicker, very, very punchy, like delicious sauce. You can use it on its own, but I like a little more mellow sauce. So this for me is the ultimate like tomato, almost a paste. It's not a paste per se, but when you're making a New York style sauce, you want something a little bit thicker. And that is my thickening agent that I often use with Tomato Magic. And I always get compliments on it. And really, it's just Tomato Magic, Urban Slicer, little salt, and a little olive oil, and we're off and running. So yes, it is a product I recommend. And you can also see my pizza sauce rankings on nepapizzareview.com if you care to go check those out.
Yeah, you said what, like 80? You tried 80 different ones? It's crazy, man.
Yeah, and I still have like half a dozen in the pantry to get to. It's just, I'd rather be doing this tonight than reviewing pizza sauce because this is a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with this.
Right.
Let's see.
And he did. I just go back there. He mentioned Don Pempino. That brings back memories, man. That's like childhood memories of making pizza, because that was like pretty much like the only canned pizza sauce I think you could get back in the day in the store. Like that was always available at every grocery store.
That yellow can is everywhere.
Yeah.
Those Jersey tomatoes, and it's just so reliable and versatile. Is it the best in the world? It's not, but it's, you can customize it to your liking. One of the most popular, like people's favorite recipe that I give out is NEPA. We like our sweet sauces up here. It literally is just Don Pepino and like a teaspoon of sugar, and like people go crazy of it. I like to add a little black pepper too, because I think that brings out the sweetness a little bit more. But it's awesome. Onion powder goes well too with that. There it is. Derek says Don Pepino, a little bit of sugar, chef's kiss.
Right.
Confirmed, Derek.
Nice.
Robert says he now buys my top sauce choices and I'm not disappointed. The only thing missing from my sauce rankings, I don't do commercial rankings. I didn't get there yet, but we're showing you that Jimmy with the 7-Eleven Stanislaus is our choice.
Yeah. And it's a commercial product. So you got to go to a distributor or a cash and carry, distributor that has like a retail front end that'll sell it to you. I know you have what Orlando Foods up there by you.
Orlando Foods in Scranton. That's my go-to. Restaurant Depot. You have to be like a business or know a business owner to get there.
Actually, you don't. You can go to Restaurant Depot and just get a day pass. If you go to the front desk, you don't have to have a business or a restaurant. You can just go and say, hey, I just want to shop for the day. And they'll give you a little day pass and check you in, and you're good to go.
I did not know that.
Yep. I think that started during the pandemic. And they've, I think it's still a thing. I mean, I have an account there, but like through the business, but yeah, I think that's still a thing.
Oh, that's great to know. So, people in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre and anyway with a restaurant depot can go.
Yep.
Good to know. Eddie says he likes Alta Cucina, one of his favorites.
Yeah, I
Those
know
are
Jeff was on
wholesale.
here. Jeff was on here too. He's an Alta Cucina man.
A lot of Stanislaus fans in the house tonight.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, Pizza Russo asking if we've tried Jersey Fresh. So Don Pepino is a Jersey Fresh sauce, but the Jersey Fresh crust tomatoes are actually very good too and super versatile. They're a little like they have that little like Jersey like tang in there, and they're a little bit. I don't want to use the term seedier, but like the texture is a little bit different than the California tomatoes.
There's also First Field, which is a Jersey Fresh tomato. They carry that same, like, I don't know, I guess that's like a Jersey Fresh is sort of like an alliance or some sort of group that advocates for Jersey tomatoes. So they're part of that as well. So I know it has the Jersey Fresh seal on it, and those are pretty good too.
Yeah, those are like super premium. I definitely enjoyed those. All right, we're going in.
So I'm at like 8 minutes here, and I can tell by the cheese on top that we're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to bring this over here actually, so you can kind of
Let me get you the overhead view and get my face up.
You can get the sound better too if I put it near my mic here. Hold on the overhead. You can hold it up closer to the camera. You see that cheese bubbling, and you can see the Frico up against the side of the pan. So we're just gonna let this rest here. One key is you want to let this thing settle down a little bit before you take it out of the pan. So let this cheese cool down. Let it stop bubbling. Usually takes about 2 or 3 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. See how, I mean, I can already see it. I don't know if you can see it on the, oh, Jim got rid of the overhead cam. Let me flip that back up. Yeah, you can definitely hear that it's not sizzling anymore. See, it's still bubbling a little bit, but it's not nearly as much as when it came right out of the oven. Let's see, Little Caesar's cheesy bread. Yeah, it's basically what it looks like, right? There's nothing on it yet. It's just a cheese pizza for my son. If I was doing pepperoni, there'd be pepperoni on here that's cooked. But yeah, that's basically cheesy bread right now. And you could eat it like this, and you'd be totally happy with it, right?
Absolutely. Especially those corners, the most delicious bite in sports, as I always say. Freddie the Pizza Man says hello. Thanks for checking in, Freddie.
Oh, nice. What's up, Freddie? Sorry I didn't make it out to the One Bite Festival. I would have loved to meet you out there, but had something going on that day. I couldn't get out.
It was just an incredible experience. I would like who gets excited about like getting out of the car at 7 or 8 in the morning and working until 10 at night. But it was just incredible. I didn't sit down for that entire time. And we made a ton of pizzas. And it was just incredible working with Freddie and the team up there.
See, Ricky Peel has another question. Is Grande available in retail stores? No, we were just talking about that real quick. If you, my timer's going off. That was my 10-minute timer that I pulled it out at 8 minutes, and I forgot to turn my timer off. Yeah, no, you got to get it through a distributor that has like a cash and carry, like retail front end that will sell it to you. So we were just talking about Orlando's up in Northeast PA. I know you said you're out near Harrisburg. I don't know, or Hershey. I'm not quite sure what's out that way. Or was that the other? That was the other gentleman. So yeah, if you have look for a distributor. I mean, ask your local pizza guy if you see him using Grande, just ask him who he uses as his distributor, and then give them a call and see if they'll sell it to you. Most of them will. I mean, I think during the pandemic, a lot of these guys like pivoted and were helping, trying to sell product however they could, and it's kind of stuck.
Yeah, I find when I'm in a pinch or if Orlando's is closed, I just hit up one of my pizzeria owner buddies and just say, hey, can I buy a can off you? Or I've bought 50-pound bags of flour off local restaurants. So, asking nicely and not doing it on like a Friday night,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
a Tuesday, after lunch
Yeah.
would be a good time to approach them.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good point. Don't go in there Friday in the middle of a Friday night rush and start talking about cheese. I'm
um,
gonna turn this oven off right now and let that cool down. So,
All right.
all
Now,
right.
Pizza Russo asked about, he just said a couple minutes, let it rest. What's the minimum rest time? And like, what would you say would be the maximum
I
rest
mean,
time?
this is going for probably pushing like the max right now, because then it'll start to stick to the pan. Like the cheese will start to stick to the pan a little bit. So there's sort of a sweet spot between maybe 3 and like 6 minutes, which I think, you saw. I don't know when I pulled this out. I wasn't really looking at the timer, but feels like probably about 5 minutes ago.
Hmm.
So, all right. So I'm gonna go into this right now. So got my grippers. See them there. Got my spatula. So what I like to do is I like to grab it from the opposite side from where I'm going to go in with the spatula, and then I'm just going to kind of leverage against the pan. Like I'm literally like pushing against the pan with this thing, and then holding the pan with the grippers, and I'm just going to slide it right down in, and then bring it across, and then you just turn it. And I always, I'm right-handed, so I'm always working on my right side, and I just turn the pan to the side that I'm going to work against.
Jimmy, you're working pretty hard. Maybe it's time for a little product placement there. I noticed that's a pretty cool spatula you have.
Yeah, man, that's the signature. See if I can get it. I gotta wipe it off here because I got stuff all over it. So that's the signature spatula. You can see it in the light. It's got the logo from Atlas Steel. You can order them from Atlas's website. And if you use, I believe my code is Freako King. If you use the code Freako King, you get like 10% off. So
Now, it's not just because we're friends I'm going to say good things about it, but like there are a lot of spatulas and people use putty knives, like scrapers and things like that, but Jimmy's like thoughtfully designed the perfect proportions and this like razor sharp edge to get behind that frico and underneath the crust without burning your knuckles, and
yeah.
just it really is thoughtfully put together to his specs.
So I'm gonna pull this out here while you're talking. I'm actually struggling to get under this. This one's a little soft. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I shouldn't have taken it out at 8 minutes. Maybe I could have used another minute or two. It's a little floppy here.
Well, I think that was one of the key questions I was going to ask about, because you pulled it 2 minutes earlier. Cooking by time versus cooking by feel, and
Yeah,
I'll just say to the people at home, cooking on camera while you're talking and managing comments is a heck of a lot harder than doing your own thing with nobody looking.
yeah, and you can actually see here. I don't know if you can see it on camera. This side is starting to kind of collapse a little bit, just because it's a little soft. Um, so probably could have stayed in the oven another minute or two. But one trick I have for doing that is we can either take the pan. This pan's cool. You can see I'm holding it with my hand. You can flip it over and put it against the side like that and hold it up. Or you can like take the spatula and hold it there. I get the spatula. If you can see it on the camera, I get the spatula on the other side. So just kind of hold it in place. This side's kind of collapsing on me a little bit. This happened to me in, you think this is stressful? This happened to me while competing at Pizza Expo in Las Vegas, because the oven was cooler than I thought it was, and pulled the pizza out too early, and it just started collapsing on me, and it was too late. I already pulled it out of the pan. I'm like, I'm done. Like, so I had to kind of be resourceful and do these tricks to kind of hold it up.
I was there live for that, and I was impressed how you stayed composed with that, and you still got the wall to stand. Now talk about like, why wouldn't you just throw this back on the brick if the bottom's a little soft? Or what happens with that if you do that?
Well, that's even worse because then the cheese is going to completely remelt, and it's just going to every side is going to fall apart. Then at that point, because what you're trying to get is this cheese on the edge to be set up, and you can see how it's still like really really soft. It just didn't cook through enough. Like the outer edge is caramelized, but like further in, it's still super soft. So it just didn't let the heat penetrate through enough to like cook all the way through. So which is just should have gone longer, more time.
I think it's actually very valuable, and this is kind of the powerful thing about live video is we're working through real time issues that we run into, right? And how will people adjust,
Yeah.
and how do you handle it?
Right.
Here's a wrinkle Eddie's throwing at you. I asked about throwing it back on the brick. What about putting it back in the pan and then in the oven?
I guess you could. I haven't really tried that. I guess I've always been worried about like just kind of overdoing it at that point. I don't know. I'd have to experiment with that. That's a
Well,
good
I mean,
question,
make
Eddie.
no mistake.
Eddie, I don't know, Eddie. Have you done it before? I don't know. Um,
I'll let you know when he
maybe
gets
you
back to
could.
us. He's commenting on Instagram, which seems to be about 6 or 7 seconds behind.
Right. Yeah, Instagram's a little bit behind. He just said, "Yep." Yeah, I mean, we could try that probably. I turned my oven off, so I can't try that live. It's probably cooled down quite a bit by now. But anyway, I'm gonna pull this stuff away. It's probably I'm gonna cut it. It's probably gonna it's not gonna be as pretty, but we'll cut it and sauce it. Why not?
All right. In the meantime, our friend Charlie Lawrence is checking in. He says he's put it back in the pan before.
Oh, hey Charlie, what's up? It's Charlie from Australia.
We had somebody from Canada in on YouTube, and I'm distance and ocean wise, I think Charlie's got everybody beat for the most international guest we have on the show today.
Nice.
Let's see. He didn't do it for service, but when recipe testing.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a shot. I've never really tried it, but hey, why not? I mean, it's all about trying different stuff and see what works. So, okay, so now we let that rest. I'm gonna put that on my board, and I'm gonna cut it. Still haven't sauced, and here's the reason why I like to cut before I sauce because and this is kind of like during service too is your cutter doesn't get all messy and sauced up. Stays a little cleaner. I mean, you still get some cheese like grease and stuff on there, but it's not like you got red sauce all over it, so it's a little bit cleaner. And then the way I sauce mine, I kind of do little dollops on each slice. So there we go. Then we're going to throw it back on our serving tray here with the wire rack. Oh, and I can show is Pizza Russo still here? Kind of show them the crumb. This one is a little bit of a tighter crumb. It's not super hairy, but see that? It's got some decent air bubbles in there. So let's slide this back over here under our overhead. Our sauce. So I like to just do sort of a little dollop on each slice. So everybody gets a nice amount of sauce. And you can see how thick this sauce is. That's from adding that super dolce in, which is kind of a thicker, pastier tomato product. I don't like when the sauce just like runs everywhere. I like it to stay on top of the pizza. I don't like it running down like onto the frico, in between. It's just I like a tighter sauce that stays put. What are your thoughts on that, Jim?
I like the presentation, and you definitely. I've ruined pizzas before when I just use tomato, like just crushed tomatoes, because the
Yeah,
water content comes out,
exactly.
especially if you bake it on the pizza, right? It just runs down the side, and you'll never establish that frico, or you're going to be
Yep.
boiling the crust from underneath with acidic water.
Right.
It just doesn't come out nicely.
Oh, Jeff said he wants to see the bottom. That might be tough now that I put the sauce on. You should have asked me before I put the sauce on. I don't know if I can see here.
Let me.
There we go. You can kind of see it there.
Nice
See that?
bottom, nice bottom.
Nice golden brown. You catch that, Jeff? Yeah, he did. He did it on purpose. He wanted him to see the bottom after I sauced it. I knew it. All right, so I'm gonna hit with some pecorino romano, freshly grated right on top. And then I'm going to throw some basil on here, even though I know my son's going to pull it off. I like the presentation with the nice fresh basil leaves on there.
Charlie says he's actually panning up a dough batch this morning while watching.
That's right. He's in Australia. So what is it, like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. there? There's like 14 hours ahead, I think. So he's getting ready for his day over there. Friday, he's getting ready for his Friday rush probably. So there's our basil leaves. Yep, now the dog's coming too. The dog wants a place. I don't know if he caught the bark in the background.
They're making too big.
Here. Let's grab plates. You want a corner?
I'll take.
You want two?
Three.
All right.
Give me one.
Karen wants one too. The Frico Prince. Karen, you want to come say hi? There he is. Get in there. There, up here. I see him. Wave at him.
A talented pizzaiolo in his own right.
He is. He's he's taking his basil off too. Yeah, he's the finisher. He likes to do the sauce and pecorino and basil. Or the basil at the end. He's the finisher. How is it?
Really good.
Good, good. Sweet.
Yeah, good as always.
There you go.
We have some excellent questions rolling in here, Jimmy. I'm just gonna fire away.
Fire them
Ted
off.
Nichols asked for suggestions for the best way to reheat Detroit. He likes the air fryer method, but sauce normally dries out. I've started to ask for a side of sauce for putting it on after. Well, that's a pro move. I have very strong feelings about this, but I'll let you take this one first.
I like so my favorite way, and that was a really good pro move that you said about ordering the extra sauce, because he's right. Like if I take this, and I'm probably not going to finish it, maybe the boys are going to finish it tonight.
I'm not gonna.
If I had some left over, I would probably tomorrow, if I was going to eat it for lunch, I like to use a pizza screen and throw the slice on a pizza screen and put it in the oven, just at like 350, just enough to heat it through. If you go too long, it's going to start to collapse the frico, like we were talking about before. Like if you go to reheat it, then the cheese starts to sort of remelt and it starts to sort of start pulling away, and you're going to end up with a mess. But the other reason I like the pizza screen is because you get some good airflow. So you're not just putting it on like a pan where it's going to sit and like cook on a cold pan. It's not going to get crispy. If you have it on a pizza screen, you get that airflow and it's going to crisp it back up pretty nice. So that's my
You're a
go-to
pizza
for
screen guy. All right. So my approach is a lot different. So assuming that you took the Detroit and you put it in the fridge, wrapped it in saran wrap or whatever, for a thick pizza like a Detroit, I would say I'm going to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds to soften it up and get that interior temperature up and to minimize the time of reheat. And then I like the frying pan method, right? So medium heat. I know people put ice cubes and all this other stuff in it, but I don't do the ice cubes. I do medium heat, put the crust right on, and then and the lid over the top. And
Mhm.
I think that kind of replicates how the pizza originally bakes from the stone up, and with the radiant heat sort of circulating over the top. So but I think we're talking about similar concepts. But that airflow is really key in your method. So I definitely agree there.
Yeah, I mean, airflow plays a huge part, like in a lot of it, because I mean that's why I use like the wire racks on a sheet pan. This is how I serve them because you're constantly getting airflow. You're not getting that bottom sitting and the moisture condensating on it, and then it starts to get soft. You always have airflow. The bottom's gonna stay crispy. So it's something to really think about throughout the whole process.
Now, probably the most important comment we have of the night here, Jeff from Staglio Pizza says, Curran does a great job. So, and I've seen your work. Firsthand, you do a great job, buddy. So congrats on
He's
being so
witnessed it
awesome.
firsthand.
Yeah.
What else we got here?
Here we go. We're going into anchovies on pizza. I like this question better than the tired pineapples on pizza argument because, like, that's been overdone.
Yeah.
But people have a really visceral reaction to anchovies on pizza. I happen to like them, not a lot, but some. I think anchovies, when you don't even recognize they're in the sauce, can be incredible. I remember I was at Bar Pazzo in Scranton, and Chef Tabone made this pizza with it was like a sauce on top, tomato Sicilian type. The name escapes me, and I don't think I could pronounce it quite properly if I did. But he like sauteed and dissolved anchovies in the sauce, and didn't taste fishy in the slightest. But oh my goodness, it was unbelievable. That's the best example of anchovies on pizza I can think of, and it really elevated it.
Well,
And
you get that umami flavor, right? Like that's
mhm.
what it is. Like you said, cooking them down and sort of dissolving them into the sauce. I think that's probably the best way to incorporate it to get that flavor without the fishy, the crazy fishiness.
Yeah, I think that's where it gets a bad rap because most pizzerias, when you order anchovies, they're just literally dropping them on top of the pizza there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not pleasant to bite into. You can see bones on some of them. It's just not a pleasant experience. So I do like it in the sauce. I think Rob agrees. He likes anchovies, onions, and olives.
Going back to your reheat question, Palermo's said,
Palermo. They're out in Lake Ariel.
he said, I do the microwave 30 seconds in cast iron pan with lid. So that's similar to what you were talking about.
Cast iron's nice because it holds that heat. Let's see. Back in my early days, if one ordered anchovies, many pizzerias had you pick it up, no delivery. Interesting. Didn't that come? Wasn't there like a movie? I think it was like Loverboy or something that if you ordered the anchovies on or extra anchovies, it meant something.
That was the code, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's where that came from, Robert. All right, so now we're talking about pickles on pizza.
Pickles, yes.
Yes. Yes.
We love pickles on pizza.
Yeah.
Talk about your first time you ever tried it. What were your expectations, and how did that differ from how you felt about it after?
I mean, the first time I tried it was one that I made myself, and I love pickles, so I knew I was gonna like it. I love pickles. I did like a pickle bacon ranch that was really good, and then like the smash burger pizza with pickles on it. Just sort of like a burger pizza with pickles. Big Mac, like a Big Mac pizza, basically like a Big Mac on a pizza. Some fresh onions,
Must be done.
dill pickles. Yeah, it's got to be dill pickles. Never done one with like a bread and butter. Although I do like bread and butter pickles, but I don't know if they'd work on a pizza. Maybe in the right way.
Pizza Russo agrees with you. He said it must be dill.
Yeah, that's why I just saw his comment. It must be dill. Yeah, I agree with that.
100%. I still remember my first time. So I'm like a guy where if something's like in vogue, I'm like not interested. You know what I mean? Like I don't chase fads. And I was like, this is a fad. And this was like, I don't know, it was pre-COVID. It was like 5, 6, 7 years ago when pickle pizza started becoming a thing up my way.
Yeah.
And the place Nina's in my hometown here was started to make it. And everyone's like, go try it. And I remember setting up the camera, getting ready to do like gross face, right? And like, oh geez, I only got one slice because I was certain I wasn't gonna like it, you know. So I bring it home, and I was actually in the basement here. And I remember it vividly where I am now, and I have the camera aimed at me. And I'm getting ready to not even post it because it's gonna be bad, right? And I remember biting into it, and I was like, did not expect that. Like, didn't expect, because the pickle took on like a more mellow flavor. I thought it was going to be like slimy, and like it just worked. It worked, and works well. I do prefer them as like a finishing, like not baked on the pizza, but that was still really good cooked on. How about, wait a second here, pepperoni and pickles?
I just saw that comment. That's one combination I have not tried, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it.
Why have I not tried that?
I mean, talking like pepperoni and jalapenos are good, or pickled jalapenos. So why not? I mean, yeah, it'd probably work.
Did you see Pizza Russo?
But
He said bread and butter pickles are savage.
yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try the pepperoni and pickles. That's fried pickles brings it up a notch. Yes, fried pickles bring everything up a notch.
Love the fried pickles.
Yeah.
I just
the pickles. Here's what. Hold on. Got another one. Anyone ever shredded the pickles along with the cheese and baked together? No, but I have. Have you seen? Maybe you've seen these, Robert. The pickles, the Grillo Dillos, that are very popular right now. You can get them in Costco. They're calling it a pickle de gallo, which is like a pickle salsa, and it's basically like a shredded pickle with. Actually, Curran, go up in the fridge and grab that. You know where it is?
No.
The garage fridge. There's a tub of those on the top shelf in the garage fridge. I'll go grab it. Yeah, it's really it's awesome. It's like this pickle mixture. It's like really like finely shredded pickles, and it's more like a relish sort of salsa consistency. And I bought it specifically to try it on a pizza, but I haven't done it yet. So yeah.
Charlie is launching his Big Smack pizza today. Dill pickles for the win. So
there you go. Yeah. So yeah, be on the lookout on Facebook on Charlie Lawrence. If you're in any of the Detroit style pizza groups on Facebook, Charlie posts on there a bunch. Makes some beautiful pizzas.
That's a good question. What are some of the groups that you are in on Facebook? What are like the main ones?
Here we go.
There you go. Interesting. I'll have to find that.
Pickle de gallo.
That's super cool.
So let me turn it around. You can kind of see the consistency there. See how it's like little shredded pieces of pickle, and there's some other like peppers and stuff in there. Stuff's awesome.
That is super. I've never heard of that. I learned something here tonight.
Curran's getting some Curran one. He's actually here. He's getting a chip. I can. What? Are they all crumbs? They're all broken. We're gonna scoop some out so you can see what it looks like. Here, I got that.
Robert says he's going to give it a shot next time he's at Costco.
Like Grillos.
I feel left out. I don't have a Costco up by me.
Oh man, yeah. So here. Oh,
let's see.
It's not going to focus. There it is. Good stuff. So good. All right, we'll take it over here then. Now Curran's snacking after he had his pizza.
Love it. Gotta have that midnight snack.
Yeah.
Let's see. What
we
else
have another weird pizza.
I do.
Pumpkin pizza. Like pumpkin pie?
You know what? I did a pumpkin pizza for my dog's birthday, the
Okay.
first when she turned 1, because I guess pumpkin's really good for dogs.
Hmm.
And I did like a pumpkin puree, just on a crust, and I think sweet potatoes too. It was like pumpkin and sweet potatoes or something.
Sweet potato.
And she loved it.
She's the whole thing.
I haven't done sweet potato pizza to eat myself, so.
Eddie wants Kern to go get him a beer.
He
And he also says
loves
he
potato
loves potato
chips.
chips. Guy's got a top 5 potato chips like ready to go at all times. Eddie, hit us in the comments with your top 5 potato chips. Like he's very specific, which is cool.
He
Let's
loves
see.
potato chips and he loves hoagies, other than pizza. Those are his other food loves.
Who?
Eddie.
He does?
Yeah.
What's going on
Wait,
here?
he likes pepperoni. Doesn't he?
Robert, thanks for all the comments here. Great questions. Anyone ever use flavored cheese curds on pizza? I can't say I have. I bought cheese curd from Caputo Brothers down in, was that Lancaster area, York, something like that. And they were in the freezer and my freezer died. And I lost them, so I never got the chance to pull my own mozzarella. But I don't think he's really talking about that type of curd.
Yeah, I think he's talking about like the, like the cheese curds you get with like a poutine, But now that
I'm not done with
I'm not sure about flavored cheese curds. Like, what types of flavors are we talking here?
that. Leave that to go.
Because I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
I'm sure he'll come back to us. Let's see. Eddie says Utz Russet's potato chips and Martin's waffle style barbecue are his top 2. Trader Joe's has everything bagel chips, but I tried Martin's waffle barbecue chips on Eddie's recommendation, and they just blew my mind. Like they're fantastic.
Oh yeah, Martin's waffle barbecue. Yeah, those are awesome.
Incredible.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah, they're really, really good.
Dad, when are we gonna meet Teddy?
I think those are only a Pennsylvania thing too. Like if you're from outside the area, I don't think you can get Martin's potato chips.
I didn't realize that they were local, like Middlesworth. I guess we have quite a few local brands here then.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Middlesworth. Like you can't get those outside of PA. So I'm just gonna clean up my sauce and stuff.
Can you open this?
While we talk.
All right, so Jimmy, we're coming up on an hour now. I wanted to do something here, and I know you've been working on this constantly, and this is probably the first, but this is the first time you're going to see it in print. We have the first copy, one of our recipe book and pizza guide for the master class here. So we've been working on this hard. Really excited about this. And so we're going to take a quick peek. What do we end up with? Like 30
about 30
pages?
pages. Yeah, that's our class manual. Your light's kind of washing it out, but yeah, you can flip through it quick. Yeah, we got an outline of the class and a lot of good information in here. Some recipes, sauce recipes, dough recipes. Because we're going to be doing the New York style and Detroit style. Let me throw the banner up there. New York style and Detroit style pizza class at Lackawanna College on October 5th. So there's a couple tickets left, I believe.
Yep, there are a few tickets left.
You can go to Jim's website, NEPA Pizza Review, and I think he's got a splash screen that pops up with a link to the tickets right there.
Mm-hmm. So I'm so stoked. Like, I mean, we've put a lot, and I think I'm flipping through just to show like the amount of time and effort we're putting into this. Like, it's just pretty cool to see this like finished product here. And here's an important one that I just wanted to kind of stop on for a second. If we could here, everything's backwards to me, but if you could just kind of mention our sponsors who are.
Yeah, so we have a page here just dedicated to our partners, giving them thanks. So we got Lloyd Pans, who donated pans for our swag bag, Grande Cheese, who's taking care of us with the cheese for the class. Atlas Steel, who donated the spatulas. And then we have Stanislaus tomatoes. Obviously, the tomatoes that we're using, they donated a couple cans of tomatoes. Hormel pepperoni, which I believe there's going to be some bags of the cup and char going in each one of the swag bags, as well as the pepperoni we're using in class.
That's correct.
And-
The Pizza Fellas, they donated the flour, the tomatoes, and a bunch of other things to make sure that we were well stocked up here.
You got AR's hot honey. We got a bottle of hot honey going in the swag bag. Urban Slicer, which donated. We have a dough mix and a can of sauce, I believe. Right? Did they donate anything else, or is that what we got?
The mix and the sauce, yes.
Yep. Which their dough mix is actually really, really good. I mean, of course, Jim and I are proponents of making your own dough because we love to do it. But sometimes people don't want to make their own dough and they want a quick, easy option, and that's probably one of the best ones out there. And you get a pretty good product with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Corto olive oil. We've got a nice bottle, which I can grab mine. It's we got a 500 milliliter bottle of the best olive oil that you can buy. Can't get this in the store. This is, you got to order it online, or Amazon carries it, but really, really good California olive oil, uber fresh. Once you taste this, you will not want to use the crappy olive oil you get in your grocery store. So there's one bottle of this in every bag. This is like a $25 bottle of olive oil, 30 maybe with shipping, but so yeah, really good stuff. And then what we got, Northeast Eagle.
They're the
Distributors
kind of
for-
presenting sponsor. They're providing some refreshments that adults may enjoy during it. Now we're going to be working hard, so it's not exactly a beer bash, so to speak, but we will have some refreshments available in an open bar. So really just grateful to all those sponsors to making this happen and giving the best experience to people and stuff to take home. We did get a few more questions here. Let's see. Is there a recipe for a Chicago thin crust tavern or tavern NEPA pizza review? In our book right now is New York and Detroit. We wanted to start that way. We thought the New York style pizza was a great gateway. The dough is versatile. You can use it for many styles, and all the skills you will learn in the New York style are transportable to other styles. And then we wanted to show you a pan pizza, which is a different process. Similar dough, but we also wanted to show you how to use a pre-ferment, and Jimmy's going to show you, I believe, a poolish. So we really wanted to vary it, and then there's questions about virtual classes and other things, and I think people may be able to infer from our investment in this platform and what we're doing tonight that we may have some other plans on the horizon.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
Our focus right now is exclusively on this in-person class and giving the best possible experience we can to this very small group who is coming. And we're really excited about it.
Yeah, and the space is really cool. I mean, it's a full teaching kitchen at Lackawanna College and their culinary school. So, we have basically anything we need at our disposal to teach with. So, I mean, if we're not going to be, we're going to be making dough in the class, but all the students are not. It's going to be more of a demo for the dough part of it, just because of, we want to cover so much in this one, but it might be something for a future class where we actually do a deep dive into making dough and the whole process that goes behind it, because that can just be a class in and of itself. But this place is outfitted like with 12 mixers. Like everybody could literally have their own mixer in front of them, and we can do like a crazy detailed dough class, which is one of our ideas as well.
Yeah, and we're really excited. I also want to talk about why we're so passionate about this. Besides, sharing, how to make pizza with people and that lifetime experience, but the proceeds, all the proceeds go to the students of the college, and it's a great cause. We're investing in the future chefs of America and future, just folks running restaurants and entrepreneurs. Really excited to do this with the college for such a great cause.
Absolutely.
Pizza Russo said he'll fly up for a dough class.
There you go. Where are you at, Pizza Russo? I don't know if I caught that earlier. Let's see, either in the book or on your website. Oh, that's John Bingham asking about the thin crust.
Yeah, so my website doesn't have a tavern style. For tavern style, I actually recommend the Pizza Bible by Tony Jimmyhank. I mean, you cannot beat the recipes in that book. Yeah, show it, Jimmy.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. This is the book that got me started. This covers every style. I mean, there's like I can show you. Actually, Tony signed this one for me too, so which is cool. This is my signed copy. I have another copy of it too, but this one's special. So, this is the table of contents, and there is like I don't know. There's got to be like 50 styles in here. So
yeah. So you probably won't find me writing in New York or a tavern crust pizza because like Tony's already put out the best I can find. It's an amazing book, and I think we both have to agree our recipes are sort of based on it, right? Because like that's where we started. That's what the aha moment was for me opening that book. Probably a decade or so ago.
Eddie's Pizza 412 just said the best tavern style recipe, and Eddie's a big time tavern pizza guy, so that's high praise right there.
Certainly is.
He made some award-winning tavern style pizzas at Pizza Expo in Vegas and in California. He was just recently in a California cheese pizza competition. So yeah, Eddie's definitely a legit authority on tavern style.
Yeah, and if anybody's interested in there's a little plug for ourselves, right? So we don't have any interest in the game other than we love the book. But if anybody wants the link for the book, DM us. We'll send you the link. We make a tiny little commission that helps us kind of keep our pizza games going. So that's how us influencers kind of keep our head above water and keep buying the pizza stuff.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I think those are all the comments we have here tonight. I thought you did awesome. It was so much fun just kind of watching you like do your thing.
Here's a couple here. I can flip. There's a couple more here on Facebook. Let's just go through here. John said a virtual class would be great. That's something that we're kind of got in our heads. Might be fun.
Tell Eddie I say hi.
Ted again. Thank you so much for doing the live stream. All the best with the class. He said if he wishes he wasn't tied up. Charlie Lawrence says he'd come up for the open bar, but he's an Aussie, so that might be dangerous.
Tell Dad I say bye.
So thanks Charlie. Bye. Oh, it's Jeff Curran saying bye here. He sees your comment on Instagram, so I got to get him to bed. So we'll have to sign off here.
Bye, Eddie.
We'll see you, Curran. Thanks for making an appearance again. Always appreciate it. And thanks, guys. And message us if you have suggestions or ideas, because we do want to make this more of a regular thing. People seem to be enjoying it, and I'm having a lot of fun too with it. So, let's keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. And this platform's cool. We can bring guests up to. Which we're toying around with a little bit. I don't know if anybody caught our live the other day. We had Eddie's Pizza 412 came up and came on camera and chatted with us just to test it out, and that was a lot of fun. So we're gonna mess around with that feature a little bit more.
Oh, Eddie.
Yeah, I can't wait. So we'll line up some guests. We'll do our thing, and who knows what we'll do next time. So it'll be fun. But we'll be talking pizza. All their fun food. Like, who thought we'd be talking about potato chips tonight? But here we are.
Potato chips and anchovies.
All right, guys. Well, I got to sign off. I got to get the Pizza Prince to bed too. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. And I hope you all have a great night. We'll talk to you.
Man. See you.